Why, hello, and welcome back to another episode of Voice of the Rings. I'm your host and guide, Zollin Ironshield. I hope you're having a great and wonderful day in Middle-earth. So today, I've been very excited about this game. We have an official trailer that I want to watch with you right now at the beginning, and then we'll review it. And then we also have first look at character creation video, okay? So we're going to do both of these. I'll timestamp the two different parts, me talking, watching the video, talking about it. You know, you get the point. But we're gonna have a blast. I will be playing this the first day it comes out, which is by the time I want to release this video, I think it's 2 days before the game actually releases. I believe it releases on the 24th of October. All right, that is when we're gonna be playing it. I will be playing it about noonish, and then hopefully in the future we can have a couple other people hang out and play together and that kind of thing. So just so for everyone who watches my channel, I'm seeing a couple of my other friends want to play. I know a couple of the Tolkien YouTubers might want to play it, so that'd be really fun to play together. Got a bunch of fuel, and then later on too, maybe some of the Patreon subscribers if we want to play together. We'll figure that out in Discord. You can always join my Discord, right? So let us go ahead and watch and enjoy this. Hope you're having a great day in Middle Earth. So don't forget to like and subscribe. Yeah, if you haven't already. So I'm gonna turn off the music there, and we're gonna watch this. So just to preface this a little bit, the person doing the narration is John Rhys Davis, right? It's Gimli, the one and only. Okay, so very, very excited. So let me just get this loaded up here, and then I'm gonna be very quiet. Well, I guess I can't do the premium version on this account. Well, I could flip to my other account. I'm gonna do that real quick. There we go. All right, here we go, my friends. So just enjoy this.
Our story is more than what hobbits and elves know. It is time we told it ourselves.
Oh, it's such a cool map.
With hammer and axe, we cleanse the world from the shadow of the ring and its master. Yet we dwarves celebrate as a scattered people, cut off from our one true home. Across Middle-earth, we mine and sculpt, delving for riches, yet the greatest treasure remains out of our reach. Moria. Durin built it before the first sun rose. And through the ages, when darkness threatened our great kingdom, he awoke to lead us again. Until the Balrog took it all away. That was 1,000 years ago. And Durin the Deathless has not returned. Some say be patient. I say we wait no longer. It is time to journey from every mountain. Come, rally together. Bring your axes and tools, craft and courage. It is time we dwarves return to Moria.
Dude. Okay. Does that not want to make you play the game or what? Dude, the music, I got chills there. I can't stop smiling. I'm so excited. Okay, so I love this. John Rhys Davis, Gimli doing the voiceover because his character is in the story, right? Again, this is fan version lore that, kind of going back. But we do know that they retake Moria, all right? So we do know that from Tolkien. But again, this is a different rendition of it. Of course, Lord of the Rings Online does a great rendition of retaking Moria, right? And Gundabad as well. But this is really exciting. I hope the gameplay is so good. I'm really excited about this. So let me quickly break down some stuff that I immediately realized and I thought was awesome from a point of view of them doing fan lore that fits in with the story correctly, okay? And I'm going to say something that I've always said, okay? So let's pop through a few things here. I'm going to just roll through it here. So again, I love the Khazad-dûm you know, the symbols here, the Viking symbols or the Dwarven symbols, right? Kind of translates into the freaking Lord of the Rings Return to Moria, right? Like, that's really cool. So the first thing that I noticed that really I think is like super cool is the fact that like Erebor, Iron Hills, they have all these paths, all these locations, okay? And this is something that I've been saying for a long time. I love this art style. If this was what the game looks like, now again, this could just be a trailer, right, cinematic, but if it looks anything like this close, that's really cool. It might not look like this exactly in game, who knows, but I do know that the characters look just like this dwarf that comes to get the letter. It's one of the ravens of Erebor. I love how this is kind of like their generic poster boy dwarf, okay, for the game. I think he looks fantastic. He is the classic Doran, orange red beard, you know, freaking just awesome, right? It just looks really good. And then we get the Gimli doing we have signed it. This is a letter from Gimli, right? Telling the other dwarves to come help him reclaim Moria. Now, the first thing that I noticed is some people might point out the fact that, like, this is something I've been saying from the very beginning, even in, I love this whole scene with the tavern too. Oh, it's so cool. And the Gimli's comment, right? Gimli makes the comment right here.
Cleanse the world from the shadow of the ring and its master.
We helped cleanse the world of the shadow of the ring. So the dwarves were a big part of that. They really were, right? Like, again, we don't see it really much in the movies. We see Gimli, but the dwarves did a lot, right? So the dwarves are always doing a lot behind the scenes and underground, right? But the fact that these maps are so well done and the lines coming from all the dwarven locations and parts of where we know dwarves were, right? They trade with Bree a lot and stuff like that. And then I will say I like this girl dwarf, how they did this girl dwarf, right? I'm assuming it's supposed to be a girl. I know she doesn't have a beard. I get that. But you know what? The way they did her hair and stuff, I think she's really cool. I think they did a really good job with that. And again, remember, we're going to talk about this in the other video in a minute, the character creation video, okay? And what I think they did right with the character creation. I really am pleased, okay? From a hardcore Tolkien fan, even though I understand it's a video game, you got to have customization for every person still. I get that. But it's pretty cool. Again, I love the art style. It's almost like an old World of Warcraft art style, right? Not exactly, but like that cartoony. Like, I love how he like runs after it while he's drinking his blood. Like, that's just really well done. It just makes you feel like, oh, we're going on the adventure. Here I go, right?
Across Middle Earth,
so then we get Gimli saying across Middle Earth, right? So cool.
Delving for riches. Yet the
they show all these different dwarves, and they're basically being called by Gimli. That's so cool, right? From all over the world. Now, here's one thing that I love, okay? I'm going to bounce this spot where it shows so it shows us a map zoomed in here.
And through the ages, when darkness threatened our great kingdom, he awoke to lead us again.
So he's talking about the original lore of Tolkien. Basically, the dwarf believe that Durin reincarnates into the next Durin, right? Whether he does or doesn't really matter. They feel every time they're really threatened that Durin will come to lead them, right? And the Lord of the Rings Online does a good job of holding onto this core belief thing that Tolkien put in the dwarves too, okay? So that's kind of cool. That's what Gimli's talking about in this spot, okay? So that's pretty cool. I love how they're creeping through the forest.
That was 1,000 years ago.
And then this one, and then of course he says 1,000 years ago, right?
And Durin the Deathless has not returned. Some say, be patient. I say, we wait no longer.
We wait no longer. So Gimli's saying, let's just go and retake Khazad-dûm. Now, here's what I want to point out, okay? Here's what I think is really cool. A lot of times, this is what I said they should have done in the Rings of Power, not to bring that in, but Durin's folk, Erebor, and the Lonely Mountain, and the Iron Hills is kind of the Durin's folk, and over Thorin's Hall, right, over on the far left side. Those are the clan of the Longbeards, right? They have a certain look. Tolkien tells us what they look like, okay, in detail. What Tolkien doesn't tell us is what the other 6 clans look like, okay? So in Rings of Power, it bothered me that, like, for the one character, Dis, she doesn't look anything like Longbeards, okay? I'm not going to go into why. You all know why. But she doesn't look like it, right? From a fan perspective, I was saying, this is my thought, why don't you make some of the other clans from the East that Tolkien doesn't describe be different looking dwarves, which would make sense, right? They're a different group. They're from a different bloodline. They're a different group of dwarves, right? Well, guess what they've done in this game? They show us people coming from Harad, from the south, right? From the area, and also from Gimli, the Glittering Caves, right? And people from the far south, down there in the bottom on the left side. So that's part of the lower part of Gondor, and this one is obviously coming from like Harad. This one's coming from the east. So these are different dwarven clans, right? That are like being summoned by Gimli to come and help, which would make sense. They would look very different than the Longbeards. Lord of the Rings Online does a very good job of this lore point, right? Because the Zaruka, which are from the south and Mordor area, have very more darker skin, different features. They don't look like the Longbeards, but they come to help retake Gundabad, right? This is a very good way of storytelling where you're not stepping on the toes and information that Tolkien has given us, but you're telling all the other clans he didn't really mention. He tells us where they went. They went to the east, they went to the south, but he doesn't mention what they looked like, right? Compared to what we know exactly how the Longbeards look from many, many characters, right? How they have similar, very features of more lightish hair, lighter skin, orange beards, brown beard, that kind of stuff, right? So that to me is very encouraging because they're combining stuff to make it where it's fun for every player to play. You can make your dwarf look exactly like you in real life. But you're a dwarf, obviously. No one's really we have some real dwarves out there, I'm sure, maybe watching the video. But you can make yourself look however you want, but it makes sense now because there's all these different clans. We're having all 7 clans come to retake Moria. That is so cool. I just have to give them credit for that point. So they're making up fantasy stuff to make different looking characters, but they're doing it in a way that respects the lore because of the awesomeness of the fact that they're coming from different locations and different clans. So that's pretty cool.
It is time to journey from every mountain.
And I love the music. See, and they're like meeting for the first time. So if you notice, all these dwarves look very different, right? This dwarf does not look like a Longbeard dwarf. But that's fine, because he's probably from a southern clan or from one of the eastern clans. Same thing with this guy. How he looks very different, right? The way they make him look. That is so cool to me. I love that because it's like all the dwarven brothers and sisters of all the clans are all coming together to retake their original homeland, right, of Khazad-dûm, which, remember, during the Death List went down to. And I think I forget if the other clans did, but then, of course, they split, right? The clans all go every which way. And during the Death List, basically one of the main leaders of all the original 7 dwarf clans stays there, right? So the Longbeards have a very high position in the story because during the Death List was kind of like the main leader, but it doesn't mean they're any less special than the other clans. So we just don't know much about them, which is cool. We're getting to kind of see stuff about them, right? In a way that fits Tolkien's lore. I just love that so much. Oh, it's so cool. Really well done. Oh, Gimli's voice. So awesome.
It is time.
And there's Moria. So cool. Oh, so cool. I love it. Oh. All right, now let's do the next one. All right, this new trailer is awesome. So now that we've done that, we've covered that, I've talked about it a little bit, we're going to pop over to this one. So this is the Lord of the Rings Return to Moria Dwarf Creator first look. Okay, so we're gonna view this one now. If that's all you're here for the video, thanks so much for being here. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe if you like Tolkien content, and don't forget that we will have the stream already scheduled at the time this video release on the channel for the 24th. And if you see this later, you can go back and watch the stream, our first playthrough. Go for it, right? Whatever time frame you're in watching this. All right, let's do it. Turn off that music. And so this is the Dwarven creator look. Now this one, it's only 4 minutes long. I am going to pause and talk through this one a little bit because he's just talking too. So I want to, whatever he says, I want to say a couple comments occasionally. So here we go. Let's look at it. Love the music, by the way. Oh, listen to that music. That's fantastic.
Hello, everybody. My name is Bradley Fulton. I'm the art director here at Free Range Games, and today I'm really excited to give you a quick guided tour of the dwarf creator that you will find in Return to Moria. So we're gonna dive right in and start customizing this guy.
It's good.
Now the
Pretty
first
good
option
options.
you see, of course, it has to be the beard. And this will define any self-respecting dwarf. We knew from the start that dwarfs from across Middle-earth would be answering Gimli's call, and so we wanted to make sure there was a wide variety of different styles and looks.
For creating, it's a video game. Yeah.
different tribes or traditions from far off lands and maybe some more nearby lands.
That's kind of what I was saying in the other video, right? So, I mean, I agree. That's
We
good.
also wanted to make sure that there were a number of different feminine options. It's widely known that the lady dwarves of Middle-earth may or may not have chin whiskers.
So they didn't really want to go into that. I love how he says that very, very kindly. He's just like, may or may not.
And we want to make sure that was represented. So let's see.
So you can choose if you want your female dwarf to have a beard or not.
Now,
So
when it comes to
that's fine.
faces, the same is true. They're all mixed together.
So that was
And
definitely
each one
a very
really
girly
is meant
face.
to represent a different personality, maybe a different level of experience or age. And you'll see some of them, might have jewelry attached to them. Dwarves are creatures of the earth, and they have no qualms whatsoever to adding maybe metal studs to their foreheads. Yeah, we're going to pick this guy. When it comes to hairstyles, dwarves are very crafty folk, and they really
I love
wouldn't
the
leave anything
hairstyles.
unadorned.
They're
And
awesome.
So all of these put a lot of emphasis on
Very Gimli-like.
braids and jewelry, and really just overall presentation. So I'm going to go with...
There
yeah,
lots of
that's
good options.
Good. Now let's see, give them maybe a little bit darker complexion.
And again, when it comes to skin color, I'm telling you guys, this is good because they've already prefaced the fact that these are clans, all the 7 clans. They're coming from everywhere, the south, the east, the west, the north, everywhere, right? Under the ground, right? Maybe above the ground. Maybe they're from people that live above the ground. It doesn't necessarily mean all the clans. We don't know if some of the other clans from a fantasy perspective, maybe they live outside more often. Right? They still dig underground maybe, but they live outside. We know that Durin's clan is a definite underground classic dwarf digging mountains, but you never know. Maybe the other clans are outside more, which is maybe why they have a darker complexion. Who knows, right? Like, again, I think that's fun. That's fun fantasy lore creation stuff that we need to be a little bit more. That's good. There are definitely lines, though, right? Which this game's done a great job of staying right there on what makes sense from a fantasy perspective, reaching out for a video game to be able to create creativeness, but at the same time respecting Tolkien's lore still. So far from what I've seen, okay? So, but it's pretty cool.
And yeah, let's give him some white. Yeah.
Older hair, okay.
Of course, you can change the eye color. You can change the color.
Lots of eye colors.
You
I like that they have like red eyes and stuff. I mean, that's cool.
Jewelry on there. Some of these colors may be a little bit unexpected. I'm going to give them these gold flecked eyes.
That's
and then we
cool.
also have a number of different tattoo styles. And this was another way that we could express the culture of the dwarves. Maybe these represent
Different clans.
family traditions. Maybe they represent, honors that were earned in battle or great deeds, or maybe they just came with rites of passage or experience. And you'll see each one of these is
Good things. I like what he said.
named using the Dwarven language that we created for the game. So we're going to go... Yeah,
I'll
we're
have
gonna
these
go with this
videos
one.
linked in the
This is
description
cool.
later, too, guys.
So, Imguzun Kozdul, this means the duty of the dwarves. And then also we have a few different scar options. This isn't this dwarf's first orc hunt. So yeah, let's give him a
Goblin
scar
Pike.
from a goblin pike.
I like that the scar
You can
style
also,
is named
change
where he's
the
hurt.
shape of the body. And this is one way that we can get to maybe different gender looks here. You can adjust the bust, chest. We're going to give them some...
So I've noticed that, let me just point out, I think it's good custom characterization. It doesn't seem like it's super, super complex character creation. Okay? It's like mid-ground. It's not like low-end, like a really, really old video game from a long time ago. But it's also not like super, super, super complex, right? Like some games are like every little cheek muscle you're adjusting and stuff, right? And you have 40 different eyes to choose from and things like that. It seems like more that they have a couple different face styles. One of them is a little more feminine, right? The other one's more masculine. And then what he's showing us here is the chest. You can make the chest come out. And then, so it might be a female dwarf, right? You know what I mean? Because again, that's holding more to the lore that we know, right? Dwarves are very different than humans or hobbits or elves, right? It's very clear cut with humans and, it's a female, it's a male, right? But with dwarves, they are like, we know that Tolkien said, kind of hints at that the females have beards. And, the Gimli makes a joke in the movie, right? Like, oh, well, we don't really know, whether or not, people don't recognize the difference most of the time from a glance, which would make sense, right? If they have similar features in that way. Of course, the dwarves will know the difference.
I'm going to give him a bit of a belly, yeah, here.
Yeah, that's
enjoying
awesome.
his
Look at
career.
that. You can make
in
him a fat
between
dwarf. That's
dwarf
awesome,
hunts.
dude.
And then lastly, you can define the personality. You know, this will affect maybe different emotes that you've got in the game. I'm going to give him some grim demeanor here. And then you can define the voice. Now, these are all...
If only my Nana could see this.
So this will define all the lines in the game.
So I feel like that could have been a female dwarf, or that could have been just a dwarf with a really high voice, right, guy?
It also affects the voice, the singing voice. Whenever you sing within the game, those are tied to the voices, and then you'll see...
That's cool.
We have 2 voices here that are all in coastal.
That's
and they'll use
awesome.
it when they're speaking to themselves and when they're speaking to other dwarves. The dwarves are very private and secretive about their language, and so they'll only use it with each other.
Which we
when
know.
They speak with other characters in the game.
And the other clans maybe have different dialects slightly, but they pretty much all speak Khaz'dul, because that's where they started, right? That was the language they were gifted.
English. And the last here, you can define their background. And really, this was another way to represent
the coastal mountains.
Dwarves coming from all the far.
Beyond Umbar is the southernmost of all the Dwarven kingdoms, the coastal mountains. With peace under the United Kingdom, this colony has reestablished connections with their northern kin in Rune and the Red Mountains. That's cool. See, so this is a southern, along the mountains down there. That's really cool.
Lands. So
the Blue Mountains, which we know, it's like Thorin's Hall, right? This is where Thorin started. The Red Mountains, dwarves of the Red Mountains have long been because Tolkien told us where some of the clans went in certain areas very vaguely, right? Like he might have said even like the Red Mountains. I don't remember, but that detail right this second. Have been divided from their kin in the western parts of Middle-earth. It is only after the downfall of Sauron that they could journey west past Mordor, bringing... So these guys are far, far from the east. They're past Mordor. That's cool.
I'm going to make mine a dwarf.
Lonely Mountain, the generic Durin, right?
And then
line.
Save that.
Line
Finn's
of
a good
Durin.
name. We'll go with that. And he's ready to go. Thanks for watching, and hope you enjoyed the game.
That's so again right now, guys, the time of this video, it's going to be like 2 days from now. I don't remember where I'm planning on releasing this, but pretty darn cool. I'm stoked. I'm excited. What do you guys think? I'm a big fan of both of those trailers. The previous ones, we saw some gameplay that I released the other day. That was pretty fun. We can kind of go through and see some of the gameplay. I think it was a little less refined at that time, but it still looked fun. But it looks good, and I'm excited. I really hope there's a lot of depth to this game. I hope it doesn't just like, you could play it for, 30 hours and be kind of done. Like, that would be a bummer for me. I would like it where you can play hundreds of hours of exploring Moria with one campaign. And I do know that they will make it where the game will have certain landmarks that'll always be the same in Moria, but the in-between will regenerate depending on what seed, right, or what game world you're using. You can make a new game with a new character, and it'll be a totally different inside, right? That's pretty cool. That's what I've heard, okay, from the creators. So they'll see how much they take it that way. I hope it is. I hope the mining isn't too... it looked like the mining was certain areas you find, which is fine. It's a little bit more... I feel like this game is going to lean more towards survival games. Like, Ark Survival, the dinosaur game, or Rust, or... There's so many, right? Kind of Raft, right? It's kind of like... That's a boat game, right? There's a bunch of other ones like that. There's a lot out there. So I think that's what they're going to lean it towards. That's my guess. Which is fine, because I really like those kind of games. Maybe some people don't, right? Maybe it's a niche thing. But I think it'll be pretty darn fun. I'm really excited. I will see you guys at the live stream or watching the videos later if you want. But we will probably be doing live stream events even if you aren't there for the first day with this game. Especially if I like it a lot. We will definitely be playing it, because we are Lord of the Rings channel. That's what we do. Baru Kazad Kuzade menu. And you know me, Zollin. I really like dwarves. They're definitely my favorite. Even though I like all the races. I think they're all awesome. Thank you so much. Have a great, wonderful day in Middle-earth. Thank you to my Patreon. Subscribe button's there, guys. Next episode's up there. And I will see you. Don't forget to subscribe, because I will see you in the live stream over there. Got some other stuff with a LOTR tale, where I do voiceovers in Lord of the Rings Online, which is also a great game. All right, guys. I'll see you then. Baru Kazad Kuzade menu. Have a great rest of your day. See ya.